Most people think height is something you either get lucky with or you don't, as if genetics writes a final number into your body before you're even born. But in reality, your DNA never decides an exact height. It only defines a broad biological range. And where you end up inside that range depends heavily on the environment you grow up in and the habits you maintain while your body is still capable of growth. This is why we see dramatic differences in height between people with very similar ancestry when their living conditions differ, and why improvements in nutrition, healthcare, and lifestyle over the last century have steadily increased average height across many countries without any meaningful genetic changes. In situations where children experience food scarcity, chronic stress, or illness during developmental years, the body prioritizes survival over growth and permanently sacrifices height, while in stable, nutrient-rich environments, the body can afford to invest energy into building longer, stronger bones. Height growth is therefore not a passive process, but an adaptive one. And reaching your full potential requires that the systems responsible for building bone are continuously supported rather than disrupted. The first and most fundamental requirement for growth is nutrition, because bone lengthening occurs at the growth plates through the creation of new tissue. And that tissue must be built from raw materials supplied by your diet, starting with protein, which provides the amino acids needed to form the collagen matrix that gives bone its structure. Studies repeatedly show that children and adolescents with higher quality protein intake grow more than those who consume enough calories but insufficient protein, which explains why diets dominated by refined carbohydrates often fail to support height even when total food intake is high. However, protein alone cannot turn into solid bone unless minerals are present to harden and stabilize it, with calcium being the most critical, as inadequate calcium intake during growth years leads to weaker, thinner bones that stop lengthening sooner than they should. Trace minerals further refine this process, particularly zinc, which activates bone-forming cells and supports hormonal pathways involved in growth, and boron, a lesser-known nutrient that improves the body's ability to use calcium, magnesium, and zinc efficiently while reducing inflammatory stress in bone tissue, allowing growth plates to function longer and more effectively. Without consistent intake of these nutrients over time, the body simply lacks the materials and biochemical support needed to express its full growth potential. Even with perfect nutrition, growth will not occur unless the body is given a reason to grow, because bones, like muscles, adapt to the demands placed upon them, which is why physical activity is the second major pillar of height development. Weight-bearing and impact-based movements such as running, jumping, sprinting, climbing, and resistance training apply mechanical stress to the skeleton, stimulating bone remodeling, improving posture, and increasing the release of growth-related hormones. And despite common myths, properly supervised strength training does not stunt growth, but often enhances it by strengthening the musculoskeletal system and improving alignment. However, these adaptations do not happen during exercise itself, because growth is a recovery-driven process. And the final and most underestimated pillar is sleep, during which the body releases the largest pulses of growth hormone, particularly during deep sleep stages that occur earlier in the night. Irregular sleep schedules, late bedtimes, and excessive exposure to artificial light interfere with melatonin production and disrupt circadian rhythm, reducing the quality of sleep and blunting growth signals even if diet and exercise are optimized. When adequate nutrition, consistent physical stimulus, and high-quality recovery are all present together over long periods of time, the body is given every biological signal it needs to grow closer to its genetic limit, while neglecting even one of these pillars creates a bottleneck that no supplement, shortcut, or hack can overcome. This video was 100% sponsor-free and took a lot of research. So if you want to support this type of content, then please leave a like and subscribe. Take care. Bye.